We might even see some mushroom houses, sort of backup strats and safety strats as well. So, oh, it looks like we're very close to getting started here. Very exciting. Ooh, Chuck. I mean, he's such a good opponent, but it looks like we're off. What are we going to see in these first few levels? Okay.
I'm with you, excited about the routing and excited about some of the item choices. So hopefully we'll see some of the never used, just Tanuki suit and some other fun stuff, and we'll see what they have in store for us.
Yes, I'm a big fan of the Tanuki suit myself. It's just, like, there's some levels, if you're not comfortable with them at all, usually will end up being the correct play. But we're seeing bits of speedrun strats. Buster B got up to the top clouds. He did get hit in the process. It's unfortunate, but picking up a mushroom here.
Yeah, perhaps we're seeing some safe and easygoing on the right from Great White, and Buster B doing some speed strats. So that'll be a fun difference. See how we mitigate some of the danger from Buster.
Okay, so Greatwighthope already has his tail, so he's not going to need to get this extra power-up block unless he actually gets hit or something. Also, Buster B looked kind of close to getting that in one motion, but not quite. Yeah, Greatwighthope just taking the P-speed there and flying straight up. It's a far easier alternative than getting the power-up and maintaining P-speed in one action.
Yeah, no waffle hype yet. We'll be sure to see the waffle make another entrance later on, though. Don't worry.
So far, I am seeing nice bits and pieces from Buster B. Does seem to have some nice background knowledge, and Greatwighthope also is just flying through these levels.
Yep, looks like everybody is broadly familiar. I think it'll come down to execution mostly.
Oh, looks like Buster B is... Ooh, okay, nice recovery. Sometimes it can be hard to land on that platform if you've already went first.
Yeah, good save. World 1, not the easiest world in the game. So this being one of the terrifying levels with every step beneath you could be your last. Good mitigation there by Buster.
Yeah, I really agree with that. 1-6 is very intimidating to new players as well. Even getting P-speed in that ledge with tail or without can be pretty tricky. Generally speaking, you're just wanting to land on that green platform before you get P-speed there. It just makes the P-speed meter a bit better.
Absolutely. Otherwise, you're facing half of an auto-scroller. First airship, oh joy. We made it, so bravo.
Nice, nice. Wondering if we're going to see any fire strats at all in this run. Now, because I'm bad at this game, pretty much the only one I can do is the Wendy one. Wendy's is probably easier to do a fire kill than not. The rest of these bosses can be pretty challenging.
Yes, I agree, and especially for Wendy, with her other strat just being so incredibly difficult, throwing out her boomerangs of doom.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we'll see how long we keep the firepower.
Very nice attempt from Buster B, and getting about 406 for World 1, which isn't bad at all. That's pretty good considering some of the things that happened. So are we going to see any early hammers this run? I think it's about a 1% chance. I may be incorrect about that, but I think I've heard that from somewhere.
Yeah, I don't know the stats, only anecdotals of having never gotten it myself, so we can hope for it.
I've got it once and I felt really bad about it. I would have happily donated it to a better player.
How benevolent. And honestly, after you get early hammer, sometimes that might change your future strats too much to not put it to great use. So
yeah,
we'll hope
absolutely.
that...
If you're not used to World 441, early hammer may actually be a bit of a double-edged sword.
Sure. So we do get good early hammer movement down below 3, so we're going to hope that that hammer for Buster B stays over there to the left so that he can dodge it easily to pick up a music box if necessary later. We'll keep our eyes on that, bro. And Great White picking up some Raccoon Mario again, so bravo for safety. Holding it for tens of seconds. Buster close to the P-speed in the fort. Nice try.
Yes, and Buster having the advantage of having fire going into the Boom Boom fight. There are quite a few of those fights, so you're always wanting to have fire. I think for every Boom Boom fight in the route, I think you can have fire.
Yeah, almost all depending on strats. Likely with 7 you'll have 7 Fort 1 you'll have tail, but it helps a lot.
Actually,
I thought a good 5 seconds.
Of course. I thought there was probably one outlier, that's why I sort of worded it like that. But yeah, you definitely will have tail or less World 7.
Yep, that's exactly right. So all the value adds. In that case, the tail is definitely worth it to save time and in fact required.
Okay, so depending on where this Hammer Brew moves, may decide whether we're going to see level 4 or level 5. I believe both done optimally roughly work out to be about the same, but, well, actually, I think 4 is the harder one, isn't it? Possibly.
Yeah, so the bottom route, I don't remember the number, the bottom route is a bit longer, but it's a bit safer. So 5 is the slightly safer route, and that'll be good to pick up the hammer as well. 4 can be done a little faster. I believe the difference is something like 2 or 3 seconds, but it's more dangerous. It's trickier to execute.
Didn't even realize it was that much, but that's interesting. Level 4 notoriously difficult to get him in 10p speed.
Good hammer grab, so we're probably going to look at seeing the 3 fort being skipped. We'll see. Now on Greatwighthope, I think he missed which hammer bros are which, and we'll see if he knows the trick to determining which. So I believe it's the hammer bro that faces right after the movement carries the hammer. So we'll see if he knows and if that tech matters and can help him.
Wow, Buster B getting quite close to death at the end of Pyramid there. Bit spooky. Oh, and Greatwighthope using the star going into the Hammer Brew fight. Going for that super safety, as we've seen. But, oh, okay, well, he's going for level 5. And then that other Hammer Brew's up top, so hopefully it'll cooperate. Possibly just prefers 2-5.
Sure, I don't blame him there. It is a tricky stage if you haven't practiced it, and the music box is helpful for other reasons in other scenarios, so not a bad call. Everybody's favorite kind of level, an auto-scroller on the left. We'll see, hopefully, power up shortly. Now, I'll probably mention this again in the run. It often comes up in World 6. But if we see from Great White, he just grabbed a Hammer Brother that was facing left at the end of his movement. Now, later in 6, we might abuse this also because similarly, the Hammer Brother ends up facing left, sort of on the middle part of the world. It contains a cloud, and we'll want to be able to distinguish between the bro with the cloud and the other bro.
Yeah, it's really good that that discovery was made, because oftentimes you're not able to determine otherwise what Hammer Brew is which, so...
Yeah, so it would take less experience to be able to hear the difference, and then we have some extra music boxes in play, so hopefully that won't be too challenging for the runners. Buster makes good work of the airship, bravo. Moving on to 3.
Yeah, I have to say, so far Buster has been looking pretty strong. Greatwighthope also has been playing pretty solidly, but just Buster is just making some nicer plays and working out, so interesting to see if that continues.
Yep, so I think right now we have Great White has an additional music box, though he's entering the airship now, which is probably something like a minute 40, minute 50 behind. So including music box might be something like 15-20 seconds. So we'll see what evolves.
And hopefully we'll remember to use music blocks, or we'll know where to use them. Ooh. Okay.
Sure, and very frequently we'll see runners towards the end of 4 using the music box, and we'll see what demands lie ahead of us.
That was a very, very good non-P speed 3-2 and just still getting hit there right at the end. 3-2 not as demanding if you don't have P speed, but sometimes those hitboxes can be very, very unfair feeling. Another level that's notoriously difficult with P speed. Ooh, okay.
Bravo to Great White, so we finished the Fortress, moving on to World 3 with firepower. Always helpful. Thank you, Boss Bass, for being generous and gracious with our life. I believe I saw it swim right by, is that correct?
Yeah, it did get kind of close. So Great White isn't going to need to make a stop for power-ups, so we'll be making up a bit of time there. Also, if you can keep fire until 4th, that would be a really nice bonus.
So Buster at least making it through to not having any runaway bro, so that's a nice RNG element that is not super highly likely, but is a huge pain and can throw off a runner very much when it does occur. So good.
And
for
actually,
Buster.
that serves as a decent reminder, players needing to pay attention to their score and their coin count because of possible coin chips. It's right. Wait, if the 10s digit is the same as like 44 or 33, you get a coin chip, and that's world 1, 3, 5, 6, I think. I'm not 100% sure, but I think that's a really bad, but mostly accurate description.
Right, and it does very commonly manifest itself first in World 3, so players will have to consciously avoid it here.
Yeah, generally speaking, that's where you would see that happen, as you say.
Hooray for Great White as well. We have no runaway bro, and entering the always fun World 3 level. We'll see if he grabs a P-switch or no. 2 boss passes on the screen at once. My heart goes out to both runners. Buster ending nicely. It looks like he has some small jump tech as well. So often coming out of the pipes, if you want to maintain the P-speed, sometimes your best bet is a little hop, and sometimes it's a larger hop. So I think Buster's trying to make good work of that tech.
And as I suggested earlier, may be the case, but we get to see our first Mushroom House, I believe, of the tournament as well. We're going to have to be careful in these. Oh, wow. That's really unfortunate. Yeah, so that definitely was a good call, getting that extra power up, because it was going to be even more difficult than that without. But unfortunate.
The bros in the water are terribly difficult, really, with any power-up status. So, nice effort.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Buster looked very, very strong in that World 3, just hammering out his levels. Again, we're seeing a mixture of speedrunning strats with more casual strats, which so far has paid off, and yeah, it's been looking very good. Okay, round 2 with the Hammer Bros. Very, very tough fight. But yeah, looking pretty good to me. So if I'm not mistaken, he's probably wanting to dodge that other Hammer Bro because of the bridges, right? Which it looks like he already has, which is a good thing.
Yeah, so we saw a death to the Hammer Bro earlier on this world. Now every other exiting the level in any way, including a death, will flip the bridge. So 50-50. So in skipping the other bro, he'll guarantee that the bridge is in the correct position. Now, did he get the bro with the hammer, or did he get the other one?
He got the hammer.
Well, excellent then. Yep.
Yeah.
That's a good strat.
Okay, it is nice to see that both seem relatively comfortable with the roots. Oh, sorry, I just heard a noise behind me there. So yeah, did seem to be aware of that play by skipping over the other Hammer Bro. Buster getting started in World 4. Generally speaking, that's the one that everybody remembers as a kid. Very, very, very fun world.
And Great White getting some cathartic fire kills on. There's at least a third that I've noticed. Thank you for getting the cathartic fire kills on Boss Bass, Great White.
Buster very close to not making that jump at the end, but just about gets it. Otherwise, a very nice 4-1. So just as a reminder, everybody, the winner of this goes on to play Mitch Flower Power, so a very tough challenge ahead of either. So if you were Greatwighthope, where would you be using your extra music box?
Well, we'll see likely in World 4. It's pretty rare that we get what we call a boxless World 4. Now, on the left side, we have 2 other Hammer Bros that are moving around, and oftentimes it's wise to avoid them. So we'll probably see him use it there, and then he can avoid the pickup in World 5, hopefully. So generally we'll want to pick up 1 extra music box somewhere throughout the run. For World 7 towards the end, we want to put the plant to sleep. So if not in 2, you get it and you have to box those in World 4, then you'll want to get it. Now, if you do have magical RNG, then you don't need to pick up the extra, neither in 2 nor in 5. Expected use of the hammer to avoid the fort. That fort can be very tricky, but leading to a water level which is quite slow. So good luck on getting hit by some spinies. He looks like he is skillfully making it through on the bottom so that he can get some visibility. As they're being thrown down, they'll slow down a bit, giving him some further time to react. Great White doing a good job on Windy, so bravo on the kill even without firepower, and moving on to World 4. I think we'll have some delicious extra stars here for safety later on. Buster B picking up another star from a Hammer Bro. And it's possible, we'll see, he might just be saving up his box for later. Great White taking an unfortunate death there, so losing a few power-ups, but lucky for him, there are 2 in this level to get him back up to happy safe status. So hopefully not too much of a loss there.
Buster Beam now moving on to the longest auto-scroller in the game, or well, at least the longest airship in the game. I think it's still the longest auto-scroller overall though, right?
Yeah, so it's certainly, it feels slowest, right? So it feels like it moves at something like half speed versus all the other auto-scrollers, even though I think there are 1 or 2 that are a bit longer.
Yeah, possibly some of the World 8 auto-scrollers, I would guess.
We can see how many swag strats he's going to practice in lieu of fighting tricky enemies. Great White making moves through 4, so we're going to get our Cloud Bro here. That's nice that he didn't move off to the left, how pleasant. And he has the extra box, and we'll see if he uses it to get rid of the hassle of dealing with the bros on the left side. Ooh, nice turn back, narrowly dodging the first large Hammer Bro from Great White.
Wait, what happened? Did Great White forget to use his hammer?
Yeah, looks like he's electing to go into the fort. So, pleasure for the viewers who don't get to see this bottom round.
Interesting, interesting. I imagine this has been an oversight of some sort because there isn't anywhere else that he can actually use the hammer instead of this now. So is going to end the game with having one extra hammer. Very unfortunate. But yes, getting to see World 4 port.
So Buster moving on to World 5, so the first few stages are not too tricky, but later on we do get to some pretty horrifying levels. So 5-4, pretty dangerous, a lot of wrong moves, send you to an instant death, possibly losing all your power-ups. So we'll hope for the best for Buster. Good luck.
Great White navigating 4-4 without getting hit. Or, well, only hit once, I guess, but right at the start.
Five two looks like Buster is avoiding the avoiding falling, so that could easily waste a minute or more. So oftentimes, if you were to fall, which we did not fall yet, but if you were to fall, sometimes it might be more viable to just take a death and restart.
Yeah, and as you say, not only is it a lot longer as well, it's pretty tough if you fall behind there as well. Yeah, I probably would favor taking a death. General? I think that's the right play, probably. I suppose it just depends how familiar you are with it.
Sure, I'm with you. I think that would be me as well. Buster flying through the fort. Bravo. That can be a tricky one with the ominous fire looming underneath.
Yeah. Okay. Oh yes, he was looking for the empty box. I wasn't too sure there. Having that warp whistle on the first slot always will make people nervous. You gotta make sure you don't hit that, otherwise you're gonna be doing a bit of backtracking. So if you accidentally use a warp whistle, say in World 5, the middle of World 5, it's agreed upon that you just restart and then get to World 5 by any means, and then continue, right? I think that's how it's been done.
Sure, so being warpless, that is the one thing that you cannot do, so it's fair enough, just as a common, chill Super Mario Brother community, just to restart is fair.
Yeah, and generally speaking, that's going to be the case for any category where its restriction can't be undone. So for something like No Cape, No Star World and SMW, if you accidentally pick up a cape, you just kill yourself and then continue on capeless. But that was our first death from Buster B in 5-4. Very, very tough level. So that was unfortunate.
Yeah, 5-4 not only is it tricky just platforming, but we see lots of animated platforms moving around that causes input lag, so occasionally we'll have frames where the players press a jump button, but the game does not receive the input in a timely manner. Even more rarely, depending on how a player responds to that, they might let go and keep pressing jump, which could yield in every frame they press jump, it does not get ingested. So you run to your death. So bravo making it through though, Buster. Perhaps that's what we saw, but 5-4 very punishing and very likely to cause issues for the runners.
that Fire Flower that Buster B picked up is probably my favorite power-up in the entire game. I don't know why, it just feels like such a nice gift.
Yeah, so we see Buster B, after exiting the pipe, he did a little short hop. Now he came in with P-Speed, and what would normally happen is every 8 frames, the game makes a P-Speed check. Are you going the speed where you can maintain P-Speed? So he did a little hop there to try to avoid that check as he came out of the pipe. He also is in the air and gaining speed. By the time he touches down, it can regenerate or maintain the P-Speed faster. So that's a good little strat I've seen Buster using here and there. This is another tricky fort on Buster's side. Everywhere to take damage, there's lava on the floor, there's lava on the ceiling, and he makes it through. Just big, still a big bravo. It's a scary one.
Yeah, it's very well done.
Great White moving on to World 5. Bravo on being an airship.
Yeah, still in this for sure. There's a lot that can still happen. Probably one of the biggest things would be something like death on one of the airship bosses. Very, very easy for that to happen if you're going into those fights as Small Mario.
Yeah, lots of places still for big time losses. Now, depending on how we use the clouds, especially in World 7, towards the end, we might see that a death can take as much as 3 to 5 minutes. So we will hope that that will not happen. Also, the hands are a random element. Only an eighth of the time will you not see any hands. So players are likely to get them, and we'll see how we deal with them.
How could I forget the hands? World 8 hands hopefully aren't going to decide too many matches, but we can pretty much tell ahead of time that it's going to decide at least a few. At least whenever we get into those late stage highly competitive matches.
Yep, that's why Super RNG Bros is the best game ever.
And interestingly enough, Great White is going the 5-3 route, so getting to see another level that we normally wouldn't. Don't even massively blame him. That fort would be very, very intimidating, but this level's pretty long, and also pretty difficult in its own right. Especially that bottom section.
Yeah, and we'll see, this is the only time, I believe I'm a bit behind you, we get the Karibo shoe. So everybody enjoy it, because it will last for tens of seconds only.
And Buster B making a very, very good recovery before that first hit. I honestly thought that we were possibly going to see a death there. Very, very well recovered. Nicely reacted.
Yeah, so now these ships are one of just a couple bosses where if they land and you're on the ground, then you'll be stunned for something like 2 to 3 seconds. So good making work of that, Buster B. Thank goodness, usually the hitboxes are punishing, but they were favorable in this case.
And World 5 is an especially punishing level to die to a boss on, because sometimes it can go to that lower section, just adding insult to injury. Buster B, I think, making a very good decision there. These hammer brew fights can be pretty tricky, especially if one of the hammer brews is on the bottom row.
Yeah, Ice Physics is
some extra star power though.
Yeah, Ice Physics is unforgiving, and especially as Small Mario, that's a good way to mitigate some taking a death.
Okay, this level very much infamous for star kill. Will he make it? Looking, oh, it was looking pretty good until that missed door. probably still could have made it, I think. Whoa, that spinning platform just being a bit of a nuisance.
Yeah, for Buster, usually missing the door will mean that you do miss it, so it was probably good to hold back a bit.
Yeah, it was very, very close. I think it was the right decision to pull back. Ooh, and seeing our second death. Thankfully, not too punishing this death.
And Great White flying over one of the terrifying levels, so good call there on 5-4.
Getting to see yet another subworld.
Thank the runners for showing off all the beautiful parts of the game. Occasionally, can't lie, I see the pipe and think, wow, I haven't even been down there in years. I didn't even know that pipe existed. So thank you, Great White.
I forgot about the 5-5 pipe as well. I think I'd seen someone do it in the introduction race. I was like, okay, yeah, that exists.
So we'll see on Buster B. Now this is a required. Ooh, and he takes some damage there. Now, there is a strat, and we'll see if Great White goes for this. But you can despawn some of the munchers up near the top of the level. If you go fast enough and go down the hill at just the right speed, you can get one or two of them to not bother you at all for an easy maybe say 389, 390 on the clock. Saves a whole bunch of time.
If you have to go to the power-up room, is it better to go out the left or right pipe? I'm not 100% sure on that.
Sure, so if you went out the left, you'd come out where you first went in. So yeah. Commonly you'll see players go right back out the way they came in. That's my preferred route, at least. And we'll see some of the hitbox trickiness here as well. I think this happened twice, where you jump directly on top of whatever creature that is, whose name eludes me. And you'll go right through him as he's picking up the block, the throw block. So you have to wait until he has it all the way picked up and he's ready to throw it before you land on him.
Oh my, getting so unlucky here. Insanely unlucky. This is probably my least favorite level for speedrunning in the entire game. Just seems to be a pit of despair where you lose much time, if you're not careful, of course.
It can be very punishing. As with a lot of Super Mario levels and worlds, it's just so punishing and so fast in Super Mario realm that one mistake is 20-30 seconds gone.
And getting hit again, that is so unfortunate. Yeah, also a bit of a shame for Great White there. The end of this level being very difficult with Small Mario. Incredibly easy to get hit.
Yeah, so I don't know if we've expressed tonight just what amazing snipers Lakitus can be. I don't know if we see him in the middle. This is a perfect example because we know that Great White is right in the middle and we can see him trying to nail him in the air. He just doesn't have enough like Y positive velocity to nail it. So they are brutal.
Probably not going to have enough beam meter, no. Buster now been on this level for, I think, over 2 minutes, which must be very, very frustrating. I'll be honest, doesn't massively surprise me out of all of the levels that this is the one that's being very tricky.
So we get a question, why can't he just play the level normally? I assume we're talking about Buster B. Now, this is a required level to have Raccoon Mario, and you have to fly up. Oof, that was narrow. You have to fly up this cavern right above where, I am forgetting my creature's names, and I apologize, but there is the Koopa Troopa and the other guy who's walking around and picking up blocks. You need to fly above there in order to escape the level at all.
Yeah, it's sort of an outlier in terms of levels. It's a bit of a puzzle level, find the hidden exit sort of thing. And
So
a lot of people probably remember this if they were playing it casually.
Yeah, so the other option is a top route, and it is a much longer and can occasionally be longer and occasionally be more dangerous. Typically, we can see this one in just maybe 15-20 seconds or so. But being so challenging with the lots of power-ups and different sniper mechanics that we're not accustomed to in other levels, we can see it taking some time.
I honestly can't. Sorry, I honestly can't remember what that top route is. Is that a water level? Like a sort of underground water level?
Yeah, and I rarely run it as well. But it's underground and it does go for a little while. And now water, you always go so slow. It's a good plan to avoid it usually. Greatwhite finishing World 5, bravo. Can be tricky with the shock mechanic, but he makes it through to 6.
Wait, I thought that mushroom house was always a hammer, is it not? I could have swore that mushroom house was always a hammer suit.
There's a hammer suit above the world that Buster is playing, which is part of why we see it a little more commonly. The one that Greatwhite got, which I think is what you're referring to, I'm not sure about that one. I believe that there's just a low probability that a suit is there.
Because, no, I mean, this wouldn't be a recommended strat, but the last 4 or 5 runs I've done, I've intentionally went for that, thinking it was 100% and got it each time, and then I would just use it before Bowser. But I could have swore that was 100%, clearly not though. I might need to change that up a bit. And we are hearing that timer fanfare. Hopefully can make this within 93 in-game seconds. Probably will be the only time we're going to hear that fanfare also. Hopefully. But wow, this has just come out of the blue. Greatwhite almost caught up here. Wow, and Buster B, I think, is taking a moment to calm down. I would be so frustrated right now. I've been wanting to throw my controller out the window. And that is also unfortunate. And looks like he's taking the death. Interesting. I'm interested now because his P-Wing count couldn't be good either. Needs one for 6-9, needs one for 7-6, and for Fort, depending on his route, but usually. Yeah, we'll just have to do it out. So yeah, we're getting close to having a big race on our hands again.
Yeah, Greatwhite has been cranking away these levels and doing a good job, so he's caught up now, grabbing some Hammer Bros, and we'll see if he chooses the same level.
Yeah, we're seeing the top route after all. Yeah, the end of this level, the end of this water level can be very tough. If you're small Mario, good luck getting through that gauntlet. Oh, Greatwhite almost navigating past that fish, which can be very difficult at times. Oh. Yeah, we'll have to be careful here. Very punishing death. Right, come on, you're nearly there, just go. Nice. We do still have one enemy, I believe, though.
Buster with a very interestingly timed tail. So he bopped the Koopa, but also took damage on what must have been the same frame. That's too bad.
Oh, I didn't see that, but you see that too often, unfortunately. And with that, Greatwhite is ahead at the moment. Very well done for just hammering out these levels.
Yeah, so we had a question, what is Buster trying to do? Now, right above where he's been hovering, where this Koopa is spawning, there's a small, something like 3-tile channel, he's trying to fly up there with the Koopa shell so that he can bop. There are 2 munchers up there, and he has to break 2 blocks on the right side to be able to finish the level. You see him possibly intentionally taking a death bear. He might be strategizing now on what the best path forward might be.
Yeah, I was wondering why chat was so deadly silent, but yeah, it just must have been loading anything. This has just been such an unfortunate turn of events for Buster. This has to feel pretty awful. But he's still absolutely in this. I would say, based on what we've seen, possibly even still a favourite, but needs to get out of this level pretty soon. Otherwise, it's going to be pretty emotionally draining, and just a big time loss. Even more of a time loss, I should say.
It sure is, and even off stream, it can really take its toll if the enemies are punishing. But I think with his speed strats, I think he's still in it. So we'll see if he can wrap it up.
I'll be honest, this is sort of surreal. I can't believe we're still in this level. I have so much sympathy for him right now. Oh, and Great White is going through 6-9 manually, so we're getting another bit of a detour. This level's pretty long as well. So pretty much what you're wanting to do is just use a P-Wing at the start of this, and then fly over the level. Being mainly a Super Mario World player, I'm fully in favor of flying over levels. But yeah, this won't be too bad. We'll still have a very nice lead.
He will be stocked with items when he gets to World 8.
Okay, I'm feeling good about this 6-5 now, or 6-6 now. Or I think this is 6-6, I'm not sure actually. This is a good set. Okay, interesting that he jumped over. Needs to be careful with that if it doesn't wake up, and does. Come on, Buster, we're rooting for you.
You can do it, we believe! And Great White going through a pretty tricky port as well on the side, but he's doing a pretty good job picking up power up even. Conveyor belt physics can be tricky and brutal, but he makes it through.
Small tip: if you're going into that room with the 3 boos, if you're not going for the B-speed strats, just hold right. They won't hit you. Sometimes those boos can get pretty tricky though if they get in a tough position.
Sure, so you'll want to move to either side. You can move to the right and look to the left so that they won't move for safety strats. You can save a little bit of time if you go all the way to the left and wait and turn right. You can run right as the door is descending or as you're rising and get up P-speed, do a little hop, and then you'll save a little bit of time there, but it's a bit more tricky.
We're
Hooray! Buster did it! Hooray!
6-5. Okay, and Buster picking up that hammer, so it is interesting because we had discussed that earlier.
Yeah, so this one for Buster is a guaranteed hammer all the time. So this can make the ending Bowser fight trivial if we can keep it for the duration of the final level.
Yeah, keeping it through the final level isn't too bad, but keeping it, if you're doing it from World 7-9, I think it is, it's so tough to keep it the whole way. But yeah, unfortunate death for Great White. I was going to suggest that our being Small Mario there was going to be tough anyway with that boss fight.
That's true. And now we're seeing the players at a few different stages, but I suggest that we are very close neck and neck with different speed strats for Buster. Now I picked up the hammer suit and Great White on the airship. I think we might be seeing this converge somewhere late World 7 or possibly World 8.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right, and it's gonna come down to how Great White plays World 7. Now, he doesn't have Big Mario, or well, he can pick up Big Mario, but will need to hold on to that in order to try 7-1 clip if he intends to go for that. Otherwise, 7-1's very, very long. May opt to use a cloud for that. It depends. So I'm interested to see decisions that he makes.
Yeah, so 7-1, the clip that we're talking about, if you jump up at a certain place and somewhat reliable on RNG, you'll skip the entire level. You don't have to go into the subworld at all, and it will save at upwards of a minute, at least, surely. And there are plenty of 7 strats that could potentially close the gap here. So we'll see what the players choose.
Nice boss fight from Great White. If you just have Big Mario, it can be tough to hold onto that power-up if you're not familiar with what to do. But that was well done from a casual perspective.
Yeah, that was excellent.
7-1 clip attempt.
Will we see it, and how many? So, not sure who knows the tech here, but do we have any votes for Great White? How many attempts will it be for the 7-1 clip? For the zip, sorry.
I'm gonna say 5. 4? Need to go back a bit more, I think. Oh, you gotta love that. Yeah, that's very unfortunate. I gotta pay extra attention to not press up on the D-pad. Very easy to do it accidentally as well.
Yeah, and taking a death is going to be infeasible at this point because you'll end up with Small Mario not able to do the zip, and taking a P-Wing makes it extremely difficult to do the zip. So going through the level will cost easily a minute. Buster going for the strat. So if you get up P-speed, make a nice big jump, then you can maintain P-speed, make it slightly earlier when you get into this next part with the boss.
Okay, I was a bit concerned about the end of that 7-1, but makes it out of there in one piece. But Buster B has a pretty good opportunity coming up after this airship, potentially.
Yeah, and so 7-2 will commonly see players taking a star and saving a good 25-30 seconds. So that'll be a good opportunity, and then further on in 7 there are other opportunities, and we'll see.
Ooh. Okay, unfortunate death again. Buster possibly still a bit rattled by that 5-5, or 6-5, sorry. I wouldn't blame him at all.
Now that's quite the level. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a little different performance for the rest of the run. Great White bonking the required blocks, assuming we don't have early P-speed in 7-2, so he can backtrack a little bit and make it over.
For a moment, I almost thought he was lining himself up, clipped through the music blocks, which it does seem to be a very, very tough clip.
And I imagine that would be tricky in a race setting, and even trickier depending on how much they practiced such a clip.
I need to remind myself everybody isn't Mitch. I've seen him do that just casually a couple of times, and I've been very impressed.
Yeah, and so Mitch also has some good practice as current world record holder for all forts. And all forts, you do quite a few wall clips as well. So he got some good practice in there. On top of some of these ending airship bosses, you can try to catch a clip on the side walls to go above where the wand falls. So we'll see. Side note, we're finally getting to it now in World 6 and 7, apologize. But as the wand is falling, we want players to be down on the ground because the Y velocity of the wand going down is greater than Mario falling at the end. So we see at the very end here, Mario's going to fall very slowly. So we want to minimize that time. Now, if you were above the entire screen, it wraps around, and you finish that animation instantly, which saves several seconds.
You, Sonic, I love that emote. I've never seen that before. I'm gonna say bit again for Buster. I think this is his fourth. Again, big opportunity and gets it sixth try, I believe. Very, very nice. So with that, has closed the gap by definitely over a minute and a half. Very, very nice. Interested to see what 7-2 is going to bring. Not using the Power Star, so we'll be backtracking, I believe.
So that jump can be pretty tricky and punishing if you don't make it, and you'll have to backtrack anyways, so he could be saving the star for something more reliable later on.
7-2 just seems so ridiculous. Oh, and again, Great White not opting to use a P-Wing in a P-Wingable level. I'm not sure, maybe just isn't aware of where to be using them. Oh, my restream thing is froze. Oh, we're back. Yeah, giving Buster B a couple of big opportunities there.
Yeah, so we might be seeing Great White save it for something like 8-1, which can be a pretty tricky level.
Maybe. If we get an opportunity to speak to both our runners afterwards as well, I'd be interested to see if both were keeping track of the other player.
Yeah, so we see Buster B coming out of the pipe, doing a little hop over the few tiles there, again to gain speed a little bit faster. So good strats there. Both players making it through. Buster B just maybe a little over 2 levels behind, so perhaps something like a minute. Still a pretty close race. Great White going for a hammer, or is he just going ahead? Alright, so safety, we can dodge some of the tricky level. This is a very punishing level. With all kinds of enemies and munchers.
I believe Buster and Great White still have a cloud each as well, don't they? Yeah, Buster B has a cloud in his inventory. I believe Great White also would do. I believe the level of Great White's on is one of the candidates. Also World 7 Fort and World 8 Fort. So it just... I suppose it just depends on comfort, but hopefully Great White will remember about that cloud.
Yeah, now a lot of times we'll see players using the cloud here for the level Great White is using, occasionally for the fort immediately following, but we can save that for other potentially more dangerous levels according to the players.
As the casual, if I have an extra P-Wing going into Great White's level, I would use that and then just safety cloud over the fort. Otherwise, I would normally just do it in 7-9. Okay, so Great White opts the cloud for 7-4-2. Buster B taking a death there. Very, very difficult level 7 or 7-8. This jump 2 also just feels really horrible.
Yeah, now this is one of just the toughest few levels in the game here. 7-8, 7-9 is just long, but if you were to cloud 7-9 because of its length, and you died in the fort, then it's extremely punishing because you wasted your cloud and you have to go back and you lost whatever time. So balancing what power-ups you have and where you use your cloud can change player to player easily for such a punishing level as 7-8 and the fort. Now the fort, for almost all cases, you only have a little bitty pipe to jump on. Everywhere else is lava. So if you were to skip that, as White did, you have good safety strats there. White making it through the airship. We have a few more platforms and final boss, of course, but I think we'll be seeing World 8 shortly. Good for Buster grabbing the hammer suit. So hammer suit occasionally can be for damage boosting, confirmed.
Getting 3 mushrooms. That's our first fanfare of the match.
Buster getting Big Mario. Now we have an opportunity for a flower a little bit later as well. We'll see if he uses it in conjunction with the fort, or if he keeps it for later. Great White finishing the airship. He'll be moving on to World 8. We can see what kind of hand action he has, if he's going to maintain Raccoon as well.
Okay, so Great White, the first into World 8. Going to be interesting to see how these auto-scrollers go. Normally, not too difficult, but can get a bit tricky if you're not super familiar with them. But Buster B isn't far behind after all we've seen. I think 4 deaths in 7-8. I mean, I'm not even sure how much time in World 6-5, but look at how close this still is. It's insane.
Yeah, and this is a very rough estimation, but I would guess that we're something slightly over 2 minutes difference between the two players.
That would have been my estimate, but I guessed you would definitely have a better feel for that sort of thing. Yeah, hand action, yeah.
Now we're going to be seeing Great White here in a moment, coming upon some opposing bomb launchers, which, if left to their natural devices, will cause a decent amount of game lag. And occasionally you'll see players bop them in such a way as to remove them and remove their spite in the very slow lag-inducing explosion. So we'll see if White takes advantage of that here.
Just as I mentioned earlier, even though typically speaking this auto-scroller is going to be a breeze for most players, Great White has got hit twice, so we'll need to be a bit careful here. This boomerang brew can be kind of tricky at times.
Yeah, as slow as the auto-scroller is, there are lots of bombs, and
yeah, for sure.
Not knowing their patterns and some of the wrenches can prove fatal.
Well, Great White had a quick look through his inventory, decides not to use it. I would say that this here one is the more difficult of the two. Possibly. Actually, yeah, I don't know. They're both kind of tough, casually.
Sure, now also occasionally we'll see that question mark box would hold firepower. Now, of course, as small Mario, you only get big Mario. But we'll see some pretty swag jumps there depending on the power-up status. It can be the last fire flower for quite a while. Buster finishing up World 7. Didn't keep track of it. I want to say it might be about 2.5 minutes difference between the runners.
Yeah, so Great White taking a death there. Honestly, I would have assumed that he would have used one of his P-Wings going into this, especially with the likelihood of him getting at least one hand. He's going to have an extra power-up from one of those, probably. So, if I was in his position, sort of taking a more casual approach, probably would have opted the P-Wing. And it looks like Great White is going to be swimming under the level. Oh. But I think that's... Okay, sorry. It froze. I wasn't too sure because I don't have the sound on. I thought that was a death, but...
Gotcha. So you can swim under the level. It is a little dangerous there. If you go too far off the bottom, it's a pretty easy death. So you do have to keep being pretty rigorous with your button. But it can be safer avoiding those wrenches and endless cannonballs in your face. Also, you're going to want to jump out probably before the end, just to save a little bit of time, but we'll see.
Yeah. I'm not super familiar with this backup, or this safety strat, I guess. I thought it was possibly that level that jumping out of the water at the end actually could have been tough, but it doesn't seem to be bad.
Sure, so you're going to have to time it when the ship is on a downward trajectory, like somewhere at the basis of its jump, and which it looks like he does. So, bravo, moving on.
Wow, now I have to say, that felt somewhat unexpected from Buster there. Just a very small slip up caused that death.
Yeah, that's too bad. Now we're moving on to the hands. Do we have any votes for Great White on how many hands we're going to get? It's probably on the late side for recommending this.
I was feeling no hands for Great White, but does get at least one.
It's too bad. Now the middle hand is on the shorter side as far as hands go, and the second hand, potentially, if a runner is so inclined, you might use power up. And then, if you were trapped here, then you could get firepower, which can be handy sometimes.
Okay, unfortunate death from Great White, but may not even be a bad thing if he gets away with not being pulled in. Oh, okay, never mind.
And so every time we're walking over these tiles, it's a 50-50 shot whether they're going to go in or not. So if you die, you may just perpetually be having to fight the hands.
I just realized, if you're small Mario and got the second hand and went into the third hand, would it be better just to die and try again? Assuming you get the coin flip, I guess.
Yeah, well, it depends.
This is risky, I guess, yeah.
Sure, yeah, so on the player's comfortable level with the airship. Now this is a very fast auto-scroller, so a lot of times we'll see players want to grab a quick power-up before they jump in. So if you were to get the first or second hand, especially the first or second, you might want to use your raccoon suit before you enter the possibility of the third hand, because you might be able to get firepower there. You would appreciate having firepower going through 7-1 and 7-2, just for speed strats, if you're so inclined. but also having either the tail, if you don't get the hand, is very nice for safety, and fire is good for speed. So either way, you might want to use your power-up beforehand.
Yeah, that airship that Great White was in, a bit of a nail-biter, and even though it's a stage that I would feel comfortable with, the amount of times I've died there, it just... I can't. But yeah, very nicely clutched out at the end.
Yeah, good passing through there. It is a tricky one, no matter how you cut it. Another one of those, any fall, you die. Take enough damage from wrenches, you die. Lots of punishment in World 8.
Well, pretty much as you said, uses one of his viewings in Gate 1. I still think using your viewing in 6-9 even works as a percentage play. The amount of time you're going to save there overplaying Gate 1 safe, I think makes it far worth it.
I agree, and especially seeing the tour of not having made the zip probably cost a little bit more time than the players were expecting. However, we do get the delightful tour of Super Mario Bros. 3 Underworlds.
Yeah, 7-6 may not be as punishing if you can make a clip, but you're just adding pressure on yourself as well.
See the delightful entry of everybody's favorite character, the Angry Sun. Looks like we're gonna go right over everything, which is a good, safe bet.
Well, it's time for Buster B to roll the dice. Will we see any hand? Probably.
Yeah, what are our bets, everybody? Again, coming in late.
Wow. Buster seemed very deliberate over those hands as well. It just tap, tap, tap. Needs to be very careful not to die here as well, because then we'll have to do 50-50 shot over each level again. But it's looking good, yeah?
Yep, so looking good so far through the final hand stage, and Great White is moving into the fort, which can be tricky time-wise, but he has a little bit of a lead. Now the fort is going to be the last time the players can pick up firepower. Now I believe Buster B has the hammer suit, so he'll be safe, and he'll probably save that until the final Bowser fight. But Great White does not, so he's going to want to try to keep that firepower throughout the duration of the Bowser fight.
Just as we mentioned earlier, that airship very punishing. It's just so easy to get hit by one of those wrenches or miss a jump if you're trying to dodge wrenches. But
it's a good time to use some of that extra inventory.
Yeah.
You probably won't want to be small going into 7-1 either.
Interesting, we get to see a bit of a detour from Great White. Has taken the wrong pipe. Realizes his mistake though. And unfortunately for Buster, this is very much being a game of two halves. First half looked so good, probably on sort of 57, 58 pace, but some bad things happened.
Yeah, the always generous stress inducer, I guess it was 6-5, I think did it a little bit psychologically. I think now, let's see, I haven't quite kept track. I think we're probably 3 or 4 minutes between the players.
Yeah, I think at this point it's possibly going to be a big ask for Buster to make this back, assuming that Great White just roughly holds it together. Possibly can't afford a death in either level, possibly more than that, but it's not over yet.
Yeah, now we see Great White has lost his fire. Again, this was the last opportunity for fire, was the fort. So he's going to do a slightly slower Bowser self-suicide, which takes an extra good 30 or 40 seconds.
Yeah, and I don't think Great White has any other items that have projectiles. I don't think he has fire or a hammer sit. But possibly will sit up with a tail. Can you use some of that extra inventory, and don't use that warp whistle, don't you dare. yeah, it takes the star and the P-Wing.
Yeah, he is all set inventory-wise for the final fight, so... We have a few areas of lava completely inundating the bottom areas of 2 stages in here, so... If we were to make the P-Wing, that would be nice. We see the good zip from Great White to skip a bit of that going down path.
Nicely done, and it looks like Great White is 5 butt stumps away from victory. Definitely wishing him the best of luck. This has been very well put together in the end, and I've been impressed by what I've seen.
Yeah, pretty consistent, and we'll be seeing if we can check out Bowser's awesome hitboxes. Yes, how delightful. So we only will take damage if Bowser's head will hit you, or the fire. So as long as you're staying over there and ducking, occasionally in this position you can take damage from the fire, but even as small you'll be impervious to damage. So looks like Great White is on the way.
Yep. Yeah, unfortunately this fight is a bit underwhelming. If you're small Mario, it's very, very easy, and even big Mario, you have so much leeway.
Sure, large Mario, the unlikely half-second damage animation time waste is no big deal. And we'll be seeing Great White end it here momentarily.
Yes, and big congrats to Great White on winning the, well, I suppose in a way this actually is the first match because it's the prelim match. We'll be going on to face Mitch Flowerpower. I'm wishing him all the best of luck with that. That is going to be an interesting match. Just in terms of comparison, we are going to see some pretty special stuff there.
Yeah, I agree, and we will see these runners again. So this is a double elimination. We'll see them again in a future bracket, either way. So looking forward to it, and good job. Great White with the victory.
Buster B will be going on to play the loser of Lasso and Esmo. So if he's going up against Esmo, possibly will be quite close. I still think Esmo probably would have a bit of experience, but based on what we've seen earlier, like, he clearly is capable of doing some pretty special things in this game. It's a bit unfortunate how it ended up though. And I'm not 100% sure, but it almost looked like Buster maybe stopped. No, he continues. That's good. That's what we like to see. Maybe? Spending a lot of time on the overworld here.
So he's sending a few messages, GGing Great White. So bravo, sportsmanship. We all know Super Mario is a bastion of sportsmanship. So thanks to the runners and GG again. Great White. We're seeing second to the last stage. Always fun auto scroller for Buster.
So I'm not sure if we're going to need to share the link with the... Oh, there they are. Or actually, I'm not sure. That's not who we're looking for. I'll just say though, if either are listening to the restream, Buster, Great White, you're obviously more than welcome to join us. Share your thoughts on your match. We'd be more than interested in hearing that. I have a couple of questions I'd like to ask as well. My apologies, I didn't actually recognize the Discord username, but big congrats on the win. That was really impressive.
Thank you. It didn't dawn on me that my Discord name is different from my Twitch and all those other usernames there. Thank you very much. Yeah.
So, oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I have been mostly used to the randomizer, so I took a lot of paths that I completely forgot which was the better level to go at, like the 6-5 and 6-6 intersection. I ended up with an extra hammer.
Oh yeah, that's unfortunate.
What's the ideal place to use the third hammer?
Yeah, so you did World 4, Fort 1. You just want to be using it for that point. If you get an early hammer, you'd be using it for World 2. Otherwise, you'll always be using it before World 4, 1 Fort. Another thing I'd noticed, I'm not sure if you're aware of it, probably are though, pretty confident with it all, but 6-9 and 7-6, I think you went through both of those levels manually, where you can just fly over it with the P-Wing, like right at the start. But it was good to see a bit of a detour.
Yeah, I knew that there were a couple of levels that you could do that, but I forgot which ones. So I just rolled through them.
So yeah, because we're all very mature here, 6-9 is a very easy one to remember. 7-6 as well, it's just after World 7 1 Fort. Where you're using a P-Wing, you usually going into it as well. Although you do have the option of just doing the clip at 7-6. And I suppose doing the wall jump at 6-9, so plenty of options on the table. But were you watching the restream at all? Like, were you keeping track of your opponent?
I was not keeping track of where Buster was. I was just trying to go at a pace that I didn't screw up too much. And I still managed it more than a few times. Like, I think it was the World 6 airship. I was just, where I got killed by just the fire when I was standing there. I was just going, okay, let's just, tap the button and get off this cliff. And by the time I realized, oh, hey, that didn't put me off the cliff, there was already a fire in me. It's like, oh, whoops.
Well, interestingly enough, it was World 6 that made this entire match. I mean, based on what we were saying at the start, Buster was looking like a massive favourite. Going into World 6, he was probably about 4 minutes ahead, around that. And then World 6 Level 5 happened, and he must have spent well over 5 minutes in that. He ran out the clock once, pretty much, and then died again.
Is 6-5 the level where you have to where you need a leaf?
Yeah.
Alright,
that was the one that you just skipped over, and by that stage we were actually fairly happy to see it, because it was very, very frustrating even thinking what Buster must have been going through. Like, it's a very tough level in general, but to be spending minutes and minutes in it.
It's just, it's just an obnoxious level.
Yeah.
I don't like 6-6 either, but when I saw that it was 6-6, I was thinking, am I really going to save any time by dying and going back? It's just, no, just run with it.
Yeah, I think at that point you're pretty much pot committed. The only thing that spooks me about 6-6 is that ending, which you navigated pretty well, but wow, those enemies can be very unforgiving.
Yeah, it's I am used to playing more of the Super Mario 3 randomizer, so that hallway is especially terrible there because you could get all sorts of things other than just you could get all sorts of things in that spot. They could all be Paragoombas. They could all be any other terrible thing.
Yeah,
but
it absolutely is going to set you up with a pretty good skill set. I hate to cut it short, but obviously the schedule does need to go on.
I understand.
I'm looking forward to seeing what you're going to pull out against Mitch. That is going to be one hell of a match. But
thank you.
Thanks for the race.
Thank you for everyone who. Thank you for hosting me. Thank you for doing your commentary. I've done commentary over races at some point, and it's not easy. And thank you to everybody who's been watching. You're all wonderful people.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully this is reciprocated, or not reciprocated. Hopefully this is mutual. But I felt very lucky to have a very comfy, very good commentator. So Thanks to Narf for that. And a big shout out to the Speed Gaming team. I'm always very impressed by the setup. So yeah, thanks so much. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks all. GG, White and Buster.
GG and take care.
Take care, folks. Have a good one, and congrats again.
Thank you. Bye-bye.